Hey, Comic Book Nation, BD here. We are back at San Diego Comic-Con. Right now, the cast of Preacher is in the studio. This is very exciting. We're headed into Season 4, which is the final season for the show. What sort of ride are we going to go on?
Oh, you're going to get the end, aren't you? You are going to get the end. I think that they made a pretty good decision in not to let it sort of continue in the way it could. There was so much more to tell from the comics, so many more stories, so many more characters. But I think Seth and Sam Catlin, the showrunner, really wanted to wrap it up. So you will get, I think, everything and more from what the biggest fans of the comic expect in terms of the story.
Awesome.
And in terms of finding this man and where he's been and what his purpose is on the planet.
Right.
Do we find that out?
Been looking for me.
For a while.
But
5 years.
I've been communicating with you people, zeroing in on the X. On the X.
Occasionally looking out for some folks, maybe.
It's explosive.
This final season?
Yes.
It's explosive.
Okay, cool.
It's massive. Yeah.
So
massive. There's a lot of carnage.
When you're going into a final season, I mean, like we've just watched so many things, and I feel like the Avengers just ended, Game of Thrones just ended, and then Comic-Con is kind of just celebrating things at this point. How do you make sure you maybe even look at what other people have done, or do? I mean, you're obviously going to do your own thing, that you leave fans satisfied. What do you kind of want to see and give fans to take away that have been with you on this 4-year journey?
I think where we ended, it is apocalyptic, but it's also, I think, without giving too much away, there's an emotional satisfaction, I think, that people will get from the end. There's an emotional sort of reckoning.
I think what you were saying earlier about something having a beginning, a middle, and an end. I think with a lot of TV at the moment, there's so much of it, it's very hard to keep up with it, and there's so much choice. I think I like what's happened here is that if you come to this later on, and this will exist, as all these shows will, forever, for people and for new fans and people that come to it later on, this is a story encapsulated in itself. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and therefore it's very satisfying to watch. There really is, from the point we started this story, and the creators didn't really know what it was or where it was going at that point because they were testing something new, it's become a real entity in its own right, and you can watch it from start to finish and feel deeply satisfied by it being a story, like an old novel, like a book.
That's great. That's all you can ask for.
You know what fans really want from us is for us to do our work as actors. You know, the team that produces what we do there are hundreds of people. They're starting with the Preacher comic and going through the writers. And it finally comes to us, and our job is to bring it to actual life in front of the camera. And it's, I wouldn't say we are thinking of the fans at the time that we're doing it, but it's definitely for the benefit of the fans that we're doing.
No, definitely, yeah.
That we're doing serious work, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, but the ending it's very moving. There's a wistfulness to it.
You're still.
And I'm still there, yeah. And it's like sort of bittersweet. Like I kind of like when we were filming it, like my heart was quite wrenching, you know. And I think that kind of lovely bittersweet ache that you get at the end of something, I think that's something that lingers, and I think that's what we wanted from this ending.
Right.
You know, not just to wrap it up and it'll be done and dusted, that it will linger in people's memories and stay with them.
Yeah, have a good legacy.
For a while.
Have a good legacy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. From the very first episode, you guys just proved you're doing something different. This show was wild from the beginning. It was a lot of fun. It was a roller coaster. Do you feel like you got maybe a chance to take even more risks this time around with the last episodes?
Yeah, I think they got so brave. I think they were just testing the water each season. And I think all credit to AMC and Sony for allowing the writers to just really, and I think Sam always said that in the writers' room, just make it, do the most wildest, crazy things you can possibly imagine, take it to the extreme. And each time we did that, the reaction was sort of better, because that's what the comics were originally. You still, when you open them up, you're mesmerised by how the lunacy of them and how far they go, and the sort of Garth's idea of what he saw in that world at that time. And we've had to do that, and we owe that to the fans for it to be as good. It has to be, because the comic already exists, so we needed to do that on television, and we touched our toes first with it, and then it got more and more extreme to the point we were saying earlier. We got very used to things being absolutely, utterly absurd, and we sort of speak about them with normality.
It was fun though. It's a fun. That's what makes it, gives it its flavor. I mean, it's super fun. But you guys wrapped right a couple weeks ago in Australia for the first time in Australia. But I'm curious, what did you guys do? Did you guys have a celebration? You guys do anything? Anybody? Like what was that day like?
I mean, we all wrapped at different times because there's so many threads this season of stories. So sometimes, I mean, it was an odd.
It was peculiar.
It was an odd wrap out. Yeah.
Were you the last man standing?
No, you were. You stayed later, didn't you?
I don't know.
Oh, that's right. Yes. We all finished at different times, so we didn't really get. Really, in a way, here now is our chance to gather together and feel this. And it's not that we finished something and now it's gone. We created something and we're handing it on. But letting go of it is it's a tug.
I think we're all still processing that. Everybody wants to know what it was like to wrap the show. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're all still processing that. And part of that is the reality of not being together and working together. We have such a high-end cast. It certainly challenges me every day to push myself. I don't want to let Ruth down. I don't want to let anybody I'm in the scene down because everybody's so great. But also the ending of the show, it has what we were doing as characters also will take some processing, I think.
Okay.
So and maybe fans will feel that same way. I don't know.
But AMC is no stranger now to continuing things on the big screen. Any chance that we see it? Does it leave the door open maybe for something like a Preacher movie or anything like that? Would you be down for that if they called?
Yeah, I think that'd be a wonderful idea to do that. I think it's so cinematic anyway.
And AMC is the perfect organization to do it.
Yeah. Awesome.
They're poised.
I can't wait to see how you guys wrap this up and enjoy this last roller coaster ride with you. Thank you so much for coming by the studio, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Comic Book Nation. Stay tuned to Comicbook.com for more from San Diego Comic-Con.